What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.
Yes, it does, everyone. Hang on 1 second. I'm posting this on another website. There we go. And we're good. All right. Welcome to the show, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I rearranged my area in here a little bit, and I want to make sure I sound good. Let me know how the sound is. If it sounds okay, give me a 5 by 5. All right. Okay. We got a lot to talk about, guys. Holy shit, do we have a lot to talk about. Let's actually get this rolling with silver. All right. Okay. Sounds a little lower than usual. Let me rise that up a little bit. How's that? Mum. All right, let me explain something. Let me give you a little silver history. Now, for those of you who have watched my show a long time, one of my early friends in YouTubing was a guy named Bix Weir. This guy's like the silver guru of all silver gurus. And for years, he'd explain, it like, I'm telling you, what we did in China is going to come back and bite us in the ass. And I never really knew what he was really talking about until a few years later. I did a little research on China, like the World War I, World War II. What we did in China, it was like 1934. Right, it was right after we actually we went off of the gold standard, and basically the U.S. government told everyone that, hey, we need your gold, fuck off. And what a lot of people don't realize is at the same time, the U.S. revalued the gold. We also revalued silver. Now, China at the time, their economy was actually based, and their currency was actually based on silver. Right? They did not use the gold because everyone back then knew that using the gold was using the European system. Right? That's what a lot of people don't realize. They're like, oh, we got to get back on the gold standard. No, guys, the gold standard is the European Central Bank Rothschild system. That's what, because they ran all of the gold. That's why initially the Federal Reserve linked the dollar with gold. It wasn't because they wanted to restrict the government. Ha 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 ha. No, it was because that was the old system. That was the European globalist system. That's why George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Henry Adams, all of them voted to actually back up the American currency with silver. That's why the dollar, the US dollar, is constitutionally set at a certain amount, because we didn't want to use gold, because gold was the European Central Bank Rothschild system. So we went with silver. That's why we have inches, we have feet, we have yards, because we unplugged from their weights and measurement system, including the currency, including the dollar. Now, so in 1934, if you want to know what really kicked off World War II, it was this. The U.S. government revalued silver, and they put it at 20% higher than China price. And they let it roll. China begged America, do not do this. Do not artificially set the price of silver. Do not if you artificially set the price of silver, it's going to drain our economy of silver. That was part of the plan. That's why they did it. All right. That's why right now over in China, it's like $86 or $87 an ounce. Here in America, it was reaching parallel with China, which is completely natural. If you have a higher price somewhere else, the price in your area will eventually rise up and meet that price, because that's the highest market price. Now, what happened yesterday? All of a sudden, the silver price goes from like $83 or something like that, drops down to like $71. Guys, do you know the amount of volume that had to happen for that to happen? Do you know how large the silver market cap is? It's big. But this was planned, because right now is low liquidity because of the holiday seasons. Now, you hit decent volume on a shallow market, you're going to drop the price, which will trigger futures contracts and leverage silver. And that's what happened. Was they dropped the price enough that would trigger the leveraged silver, which would actually make everyone holding leveraged silver to sell, which would drop the price lower, which would hit another margin level. If you watch how it dropped, it was absolutely 1% every time, because every time they hit 1% lower, they hit another margin level, which would trigger all of those margin calls, which would sell the silver, drop it another 1%, which would trigger another margin call. And this is all about J.P. Morgan. All right, J.P. I'm sure they're not the only ones, but the biggest one is J.P. Morgan. They have a huge, huge short on silver. Huge, because they thought they could control it. But what happened is that China announced as of January 1st, 2026, China will reduce the amount of silver leaving China by 25%. Now, if you know history, that's exactly what America did with gold. This is years ago. This is pre-Civil War, right? They reduced exports, saying, nope, we want to accumulate gold. That's what led to, that's what eventually led to Andrew Jackson getting rid of the central bank, because the central bank was trying to actually bring in more gold because they wanted to set up their gold system and replace the silver system that George Washington and all of the founding fathers had actually put in place. And around 1850, they were preparing for the Civil War. That's why, I could ramble. That's why France actually got involved with the Civil War, because of gold. And what the Rothschilds were doing in France, removing gold from France. So China is actually, they are going to pull, and they are actually pulling in America. They are using the same fucking tactics we used in 1934. They're raising, now mind you, the price in China is the accurate price of silver. They're letting it run up. And so while you have silver valued higher in China than you do in America and London, see, London's fucked. London ain't got no silver. All right? Who has silver is Mexico and Australia. Now, Australia doesn't have a large amount of in-ground silver, but they got the Perth mints, and they have warehouses of fucking silver. Warehouses. A ton. Google that shit. Look at some of their warehouses. It's incredible. Now, while China, because remember, guys, the Genius Act kicks in January 1. Most of the crypto shit in the Genius Act kicks in January 1, 2006. 2026, I'm sorry. And China and America are at war with Europe. They're at war with the globalists. All right. Let's just be honest here, folks. Trump has made an agreement with China. Okay, you guys want to use silver? You go right ahead. Because remember, guys, silver ain't just for jewelry. Silver, here's a little bit more information. There's an electric vehicle over in China that goes 2,000 miles per charge, and it takes about 15 minutes to charge it. Now, mind you, that electric vehicle requires 4 kilos of silver. A kilo is about 4 pounds, I think. Check me on that. I'm not for sure if it may be closer to 3 pounds, but it ain't a pound. All right. So these cars use a ton of silver. And China, they produce 80-something% of the solar panels. They use silver. Huh?
8 pounds and 4 kilos.
Holy shit. Okay, well,
Almost 9.
almost, so each kilo is about 9 pounds.
No, in 4 kilos. So the car needs 9 pounds.
Oh, okay. All right. So 4 kilos is about 9 pounds. 9 pounds of silver. Remember, each pound is 16 ounces. Each ounce in China is about $84-ish, I think last I checked. Now, let me bring something up. If you don't think that the world is transitioning off oil, let me say this. 1 barrel of oil is 300 pounds. It's at about $60. So 300 pounds of oil is less than 1 ounce of silver. Let that sink in. 300 pounds of oil is worth less than 1 ounce of silver. And remember, when you actually buy a barrel of oil, that includes the price of the barrel, which is about $7. Let that sink in. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Europe and the globalists are done. They are done. That's why Europe needs war. That's why, I wish I had a fucking clip. I watched a clip yesterday of a European leader literally telling the European Union and the people of his country, we need to get ready for horrific war that we haven't seen since 1913. Wait, what? The bloodiest war in American and world history? And you're telling your people? And mind you, four countries out of the European Union have implemented the draft in the last few weeks. There's one who said, well, we'd like you to volunteer, but if you don't volunteer, then we will have to issue the draft. Are you really asking for volunteers? No. You're letting people sign up early for the draft. That's what you're doing. You aren't asking for volunteers. You're saying, hey guys, everyone who wants to actually volunteer, come and sign up. Everyone else, we're just going to fucking draft you. And they have to. Guys, The Federal Reserve, did anyone see how Trump put out the little bit of nugget? You know, we're looking into suing the Federal Reserve. What would Trump sue? Now, remember, when he says sue, have you ever heard that term sue for peace? All right. Government lingo, or shall we call it legalese, Washington legalese, when you sue somebody in government Washington legalese, when one entity sues another entity in government, they say they're suing them. But what they're really doing is they are issuing a law enforcement declaration. They're saying the Federal Reserve broke some law outside of their charter. Now, the Federal Reserve is not allowed to send money to any foreign bank as a bailout. Well, the Federal Reserve sent money to the World Economic Forum and the World Bank and the Bank of International Settlements. So they sent, I want to say it was 400 billion, something like that, ridiculous, over the last like 4 years. $400 billion sent to the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, and the WEF, World Economic Forum. These entities then sent the money on to foreign banks. All right. Remember a few years ago, I think it was actually Bank of Japan or one of those where they got in trouble, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, they were no longer in trouble. That was the Federal Reserve. Their system is broke. And now that China, we now have two silver markets. We have the U.S. silver market, which is actually set by London. And we have the Chinese. So we have the Western market, which is at like whatever it is right now, $71, whatever. And we have the Eastern market, which is like at 84 or whatever the fuck it is. See, what everyone's starting to figure out is there's not enough silver. And guys, you have to understand, silver production, there's no such thing as a silver mine. Let me just put it that way. There are copper mines who happen to find some silver. That's what a silver mine is. It is a mining company that's looking for silver, that happens to, are looking for copper, who happens to find silver. There's no such thing as a silver mine. They can't ramp up because have you guys looked at the price of copper? Isn't it odd how the price of copper is dropping, but yet the price of silver is going up? The reason for that's on purpose. Because if they drop the if they drop the price of copper, then the copper mines, they don't ramp up the production. Yes. And you're absolutely right. The Shanghai Metals Exchange is a physical market. They do not let you sell derivatives on the Shanghai market. No. You have to have physical. You have to have proven physical with a shipping company that will vouch that they have verified your silver holdings. It's what we should have. Well, we do have that, but all of the shipping companies are owned by the exchanges. That's like one pocket verifying the other pocket. Hey, we got plenty of silver, don't we? Yeah, Bob, we got shit. Fuck, we got unlimited silver. I mean, literally, we can just write it on a piece. How much silver do you want us to say you got? That'll probably be easier. Now, silver is the China side. All right. And remember, the reason China was going after the gold was to drain the LBMA over in London. That's why they were buying so much gold. Because there's a little trick. Or there was. Can't really do it anymore. There was a trick over in London that you could use a derivative of gold to purchase silver. Let that sink in. You own a few gold paper contracts. We will lend you money so you can buy silver with that. Okay. Well, China drained London of their gold. There's no gold left in London. It's all in the Middle East and in China, as Trump would say. Now, that is the area of attack, or that's the weapon of attack for Asia and the East. Let's just say the East. All right. Now Russia ain't worried about silver. Russia's got a fuck ton of silver. They got so much silver up in the areas that no one fucking lives because it's too goddamn cold. There's a ton of silver. So they aren't worried about accumulating it out of the ground. Why would they pull it out of the ground when they can actually just leave it there? That pulling it out of the ground, leaving it in the ground is safer than pulling it out of the ground. Because in order for someone to get it, they have to invade Russia. And anyone who knows their history, invading Russia is not a good motherfucking idea. Not good at all. Russia is so fucking big. So remember, guys, Russia has like 18 time zones, or no, I think it's like 11 or 12 time zones. America's got thorough. Well, unless you include Hawaii, which we don't. Who really includes Hawaii anymore? All right, they have 12 time zones. You know there's only 24, right? They cover half of the earth in time zones. You think these motherfuckers are worried about silver? No. Russia is land rich. That's why Trump's trying to work out a deal with these motherfuckers. They're like, dude, I know you got shit over in that fucking mountain, and that ain't even a mountain you've named yet. You got so many goddamn mountains, that one ain't even reached the point where you name it yet. That's Russia. See, all this shit we hear about how Europe's going to arm up and they're going to take on Russia. Really, Poland? Really? Motherfuckers, you got like 3 airplanes and 2 of them are broke down. And you think you're going to get on television and threaten Putin? Huh. Good fucking luck. As soon as your polka-loving ass pokes your head out of Poland, you are fucked. You'll have a Dragunov, which if you don't know what a Dragunov is, it's a high-powered sniper rifle. You'll have a Dragunov pointed right at your motherfucking head while you're doing your polka. And Putin's reaching the point where he's tired of playing. See, Europe needs the war. They need it because they're economically collapsing. And really, guys, Germany, which used to hold up Europe, they are fucked. They are so fucked. They're reliant on solar. Yeah, that's about it. And wind. Okay. Solar and wind. Now, mind you, they're trying to work a little back deal with Russia on getting some natural gas in there so their people don't wind up like fucking German icicles. They have greened themselves right into the fucking ground. Have you seen the energy prices over in Germany? Germans are starting to get pissed. And Germany ain't what it used to be. When you think of Germans, don't think of Hitler. Think of Hitler's girlfriend. And that's a little bit closer to the modern day fucking German. We aren't talking strong people anymore, folks. They aren't going to do it for the fucking homeland. Germans now, Germany, and remember, guys, the West, we're the only people that call them Germans. They're Deutschland. Right? No one in Germany calls themselves Germans. That's how propagandized we've been. Oh, that's Germany. Right? Because they call themselves Deutsch. Yeah, but we call them Germans. That's like if someone in Germany was referring to America and just said, you know what they are? They're like North Mexico. That's the equivalent of calling a Deutsch person a German. Yeah, they're just they're not Deutsch. They're actually they're South Germans. Or actually that'd be East Germans. That whole area is Germanic. Russia, guess what? Germanic. Ukraine, Germanic. Germany, Germanic. But they weren't called Germans. They were called, that's why their currency was the Deutschmark. They didn't call it the German mark. See, all of these lies of history has everyone in the West totally oblivious to the reality of the rest of the world. Here's an example. All right. If I say Chinese philosophical belief system, what would you say? If I said what are the Chinese philosophical belief systems? I'll wait for the chat. Someone's got it. All right. I'll give you one. Confucius. All right. That's one. Confucianism. All right. What's another one? All right. All right. Actually, hey, hi.
Yeah.
Is the one actually?
Yeah, Taoism.
I got it. Thank you. All right. The other one is actually Taoism. All right. So you have Confucianism and you have Taoism. There's one more. I bet you don't know what it is unless you've watched every show I've ever put out. Legalism. Yeah. Legalism. There's three. There's Taoism. There is Confucius. And there's legalism. All right. Legalism is the origins of legal system. That's where we get the word legal. Now, legalism, everyone in, what was it, like 1540, I think? Everyone who was a legalist changed their name. Can anybody guess what the legalist changed their name to? Legalist. Lee. Surprise, fucking prize. We've always wondered, why are there so many goddamn Lees over there? It's a big ass family. Jesus Christ. Some woman got their shit tore up having that many kids. No, the legalists changed their names to Lee because they were a political party. Remember, China was the origins of the Eastern Legal Party. They're who created politicians. Now, we had shit in Greece. Don't get me wrong. We had democracy. That was all, hey, do you vote with a white rock or a black rock? There you go. Hence, that's where BlackRock actually comes from. All right. This is what we have been taught. We have actually been taught that the world was just a bunch of cavemen before the Western world rolled in, until we civilized the Mongols, until we civilized the Asians, which were known as the mystics. That's a whole nother woo-woo story. But I digress. Now, jumping off of the, oh, hang on one second. Word from the sponsor. Gotta pay the bills.
Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.
And we're back. Okay. Now, I have a video clip I want to share with you. All right. Last week, you guys may have been surprised, or maybe it was last week or the week before, I don't remember, when I came out and said, look, Michael Saylor is under attack. His shares are under attack. Now we have evidence that I was right. Well, I wasn't right. I was actually told that. All right. So this is not my original thought. That came from a damn good source. Thanks, Mike. It's now we have the evidence, and they're in full panic mode. Full fucking panic mode. Because they know the East is going to take out their metals market because they have so many derivatives. And we keep hearing failure to deliver. Oh, we'll pay you cash. All right, failure to deliver. Well, we'll pay you cash, but we gotta go over to the Federal Reserve overnight repo, and we gotta get about $40 billion. I'm sorry, $30 billion to actually pay out the derivatives futures. Sorry. Be right back. Yeah, Fed. Yeah, hi. Is this the emergency oh fuck window? Oh, good. I'm in the right place. Oh fuck. I need some money because I got a bunch of paper fucking derivatives that are just about as valuable as the money you're going to give me. So I'm going to need to borrow your useless money because my useless paper is even less useless than your fucking pieces of paper. So let's swap some paper. That's what's going on right now. And that's from the East. Trump is attacking that system with the Bitcoin. And so is Michael Saylor. Everyone was so like, oh, look, Michael Saylor's over in J.P. Morgan's office. Yeah, he was. And don't think he was being fucking friendly. Like, you guys see Michael Saylor in a certain way. You're like, oh, he's such a logical, nice guy. Michael Saylor's a fucking shark, dude. Michael Saylor will smile at you while he slaps your handicapped grandmother. He's a great guy to interview or actually talk to. But don't play him for a fucking fool. Remember, Michael Saylor's got friends. Tether's profits. Jamie Dimon would blow Trump for Tether's profits. And I mean go deep. That's how much money fucking Tether makes. See, the Genius Act is the key. That kicks in January 1. JP Morgan. Watch for it. This is coming. All of a sudden, the SEC is going to start to send Wells notices to JP Morgan, and not the usual ones. And Trump is going to hit the Federal Reserve at the same time. What's going to happen is Trump is going to lock the Fed in place. That means that Trump is going to put the Federal Reserve on notice. Because remember, the Federal Reserve runs on a charter. That charter has stipulations and mandates. We sit and we talk about the mandates, the unemployment rate, the interest rate, inflation rate. We never talk about the stipulations of the charter for the Federal Reserve. That's where Trump's got him by the balls. Yes, please hit like and subscribe, whatever platform you're on. Oh, shout out to Rumble. You guys are doing awesome over there. I hadn't checked it in a while. Go Rumble. Right? This year is going to be interesting, guys. Because watch for it. All right. The first or second quarter, the SEC is going to make it illegal to blind short sale. Blind short sell. Technically, it's already illegal. Technically. But there's going to be a formal announcement. Now, they're also going to change the rules. And this involves tokenization. They're going to change the rules where you can own a share of a company on your phone, tokenized. What that does is that kills BlackRock. Because it removes their proxy power in corporations. Because if you understand, when BlackRock has a hedge fund or runs whatever shit like that, JP Morgan too, all right, they vote the shares they hold. When you sign over, when you say, I have a JP Morgan or I have a BlackRock app where I can, trade ETFs and all that shit. See, sorry guys, this is going to be a longer video today, so you guys are just going to have to deal with that bullshit. when JP Morgan launched their ETFs, all right, they had no in-kind exchange. So if you sold your ETF, they didn't send you Bitcoin. They sent you cash. Now, what's going on? Because remember, Trump implemented in-kind exchange. Now, BlackRock said no. They're not going to implement in-kind redemption. You can send them some Bitcoin and they will give you the equivalent of that ETF. But if you request that they won't send you Bitcoin. All right, BlackRock ain't sitting there cracking open the old Exodus wallet and sending you Bitcoin. No, they will send cash to your dashboard on your BlackRock shit, and that's it. You don't even have an option because they know if they know that they would get drained with what's coming. The BlackRock, JP Morgan, they're all fucked, and they know it because now they are getting caught with just a bunch of paper, no physical at all. All right, and BlackRock, I don't give a flying fuck what they say. They are using the Bitcoin they hold to create futures on the Bitcoin at the CMOE or CMEO or whatever the fuck it is in Chicago. They are creating futures that are actually tied to the Bitcoin that they hold. And they're using the futures market to drop the price of the Bitcoin. Now, so is JP Morgan. Don't think. And so is that other one. What's the name of it? I'm sorry, Vanguard. Remember how Vanguard swore up and down, fuck you and your ETFs. We ain't doing shit with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's junk. We hate Bitcoin. We really hate Bitcoin, and we think that Bitcoin's ugly too. Okay. Who's the largest holder of Microsoft shares? Vanguard. See, they didn't, suddenly get Jesus and go, fuck, we need some exposure to Bitcoin. No. Remember, these guys have unlimited money. Unlimited money. If shit goes wrong, they just go to the Federal Reserve and go, knock, knock, oh, fuck window, you open. No. The reason they were the number one largest shareholder of Strategy, forgive me, Mike, was so they could short it. Now, I'm going to bring up a video here. Hang on one second. I'm going to flip this up. Let's see what the fuck I'm doing here. Right, there we go. All right, let me go over here. I'll go over here. All right. Now, this guy knows what he's talking about. Hold, please.
So I guess my other question is, like, how long is that just one shot? Is that like one arrow in the quiver that they have? Because I imagine you bump up margin requirements to 95%, and then anybody who was engaged in sort of using MSTR as margin to get leverage, looks clear. You'd ultimately find another equilibrium, and then go from there. People who were overextended get wiped out. People who were we're not overextended or fine. You just sort of find an equilibrium and things can reset from there. Or is that how you view this playing out, or is this like a sustained quote unquote attack for lack of a better term?
I think it was their first, not their first. I think it was one of their more public attacks on the asset, where they thought they could really have a financial impact and a emotional impact. And the emotional impact, you cannot discount how powerful that is, right? People, big Bitcoin believers start to question everything, right? Is this asset subject to manipulation? And, am I exposed to that? And, just starting to conspiracy theories swirling, right? Has it been hacked? Is there more asset out there than we understand? Like all these crazy things were happening because they tapped into people's confidence in it. Once the confidence breaks, right? Because that's what all these things are, right? At the end of the day, any currency, right? What's the USD worth? It's worth what people are willing to, believe it's worth, right? Because you got a huge leveraged balance sheet that, if that was any corporation, it would be bankrupt, right? But USD is the best currency in the world. So it's just confidence. And people say, well, Bitcoin is, you can't articulate what it's worth. It's just, a digital asset. It has no actual value. No currency has actual value. Like people who say that are just missing the mark. It's all confidence. So JP Morgan adopting that theory, I think, was like, okay, so if we break confidence in it, like any currency, whether it's, Japan or Argentina, right? If you break that confidence in that currency, then you damage the value of that currency, and that doesn't go away overnight. So I think that they took a big shot across the bow, right? They probably got a leak in the boat, and then they kind of were in there trying to make that hole a little bigger by saying, going off the NASDAQ 100, going to get kicked out of the MSCI, like pulling back, pulling old, articles and data and statements and kind of making them in the headlines. Like that's part of that coordinated attack. Like why is an analyst at JP Morgan talking about it being removed out of the index and talking about MSTR as a risky bet when he doesn't even cover the company? Like, I'm pretty sure the analysts are pretty busy writing research and publishing on companies and doing update notes on the universe of companies they cover. But yet he's going off on some MSTR attack for a company that has no research coverage at JP Morgan, right? So it's just, and it's, at the end of the day, that move was detrimental to their own clients. They wiped out billions of dollars of value in their own clients' portfolios, right? That was the ultimate result of it. They basically attacked the stock by attacking their own clients because they knew that they couldn't post the $1 billion of collateral. So I think it's just confidence. And that was what that's what they were firing at.
How do you counterattack this?
You call them out. It's the only way to do it. You got to go to the mat with them. I think it's the only, and a lot of people are afraid to do that, right? Because it's a big, massive institution, and people have exposure. Like we as a fund.
Okay. What that guy was actually talking about is JP Morgan. And this also includes BlackRock and Vanguard. They're at war with us, just like they're at war with China. All right. China is going after them using silver. And America is going after them using the Bitcoin. That's what's going on right now. And January 1, when the Genius Act kicks in. Oh, and I haven't even talked about New York. All right. I may save that for now. No, I got to rant. Sorry, guys. We're going to go over an hour. New York has lost their fucking minds. But we knew that. This is not like a surprise. When you elect a Muslim leftist communist as mayor, let's kind of take a second here, guys. 9/11. New York. I would have put money on it that New York would never elect a Muslim mayor. Now, I'm not saying all Muslims are bad. What I am saying is that a Muslim leftist is bad. They've hired, listen to this fucking crazy bullshit. They've hired a lesbian 911 operator to run the fire departments in New York. Let me say this again. They've hired a lesbian. Now, that's not the important part. If she was a totally jacked lesbian, like this woman, she can climb a ladder in seconds. This woman was rolled into the fucking press conference. All right, she's in great shape. Problem is, it's the shape of a circle. And she's a 911 operator. And they put her in charge of what I would argue is the most masculine group of motherfuckers in America. If you've never known a New York firefighter, these are different people. These are not average Joe motherfuckers who just are like, hey, I think I'm going to be a firefighter. No, these are, I could almost argue they're mentally ill. These are the alpha males of the alpha male. Not even the police department ain't got shit on the fire department. And the New York fire system is not like any other New York fire system. All right, any other, we have high rises, we have antique buildings. They have a different handbook for different sizes of fires. If it's up on the 18th floor, there's one handbook. If it's up on the 45th floor, it's a different fucking handbook. This is a complicated system of fighting fires. And who does he put in charge? A fucking 911 operator. So she took the calls. And that's what his argument was. He was like, wow, she handled incoming calls to the fire department. Oh, yeah. Well, whenever I call a doctor's office, the doctor don't fucking answer. I'm not fucking calling his secretary for advice. I want to talk to the goddamn doctor. It makes no sense unless you actually put your mind in it and you go, everyone knows this is kind of stupid. So you got, and Mondati, he's a lot of things, but he ain't stupid. He's a Muslim socialist. And if you know the history of Islamic socialist, then you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Now, that's one example. Lesbian operator is now running the New York Fire Department. Great idea. Number two, he puts on the Public Safety Board. A guy who went to prison for some type of abuse. I want to say armed robbery and something else. All right, we're not talking. He ran off with a hot dog from a vendor. All right. This motherfucker used a gun and robbed some bitches on multiple occasions and went to prison for it. So, Mom Donnie, the ever wise, huge supporter of the gay and lesbian and transgendered or whatever community, you know, because that's what Muslims do. They absolutely value their gay community as long as there's none of them. So this guy puts a criminal on the board of safety, of public safety. Fuck. Let's put Hitler in charge of plumbing. Why not? This is going to work great. Then, not bullshitting, found there's two more things. Give me about 10 more minutes. All right. And chat, could you hold me to that 10 minutes, please? Because you know me, I'll ramble. So then they just listened to this city ordinance for all of New York City. If you own property that is 4 units or more, let's say you own a 4-family in New York, you now have to offer your property up for sale for 6 months to NGOs and nonprofits. You can't sell it directly to the public. You have to put it on an auction board for NGOs and nonprofits. And they have what is legally called the first right of refusal. Does anyone know what the Communist Manifesto says about private property? Yeah, the elimination of private property. So now if you own property that's large, that is 4 units or more, which is the majority, not a lot of single family homes unless you're in the rich people folk area. Now, this doesn't apply to single family homes. Guess what that means? The rich motherfuckers. They don't have to worry about it with their private residence. But guess who owns all the 4-family flats or bigger? The rich motherfuckers. So basically, the communist is saying, don't worry, your private residence is safe for now. And I guarantee there's a for now in there. Because progressives, socialists, or as Lenin said, democratic socialism is just a nice way of saying communism. That's a Lenin quote. He wasn't a democratic socialist. He was a communist. So you can keep your family 1-unit multi-million-dollar house for now. You could sell that however you want to. But if you own a 4-family flat or bigger, you're fucked. Now, let's think of why. Why would Mondani and the newly elected New York Council on Housing, why would they do this? Do you think an NGO or nonprofit's going to go in there and remodel it and sell it to the highest bidder? Oh, no. And it's not Section 7, and it's not Section 9. What is it? Everyone say it with me. Section 8. Guys, and if you want to see this, look at Detroit. Same fucking thing. They did the same thing in areas in Detroit. And guess what they are now? They're empty lots. You know why? Because they put Section 8 in. This is absolutely fucking crazy. But it's not if you look at it from the point of view of a progressive communist. Well, we're not going to come in and, implement communism right out in the open, just, for everyone at once. No. We're going to do just like we did with the income tax. We're going to fuck with the rich. Don't worry, middle class. Don't worry, lower class. You guys are safe, totally safe until 1921. Oh, what? Oh, well, yeah, I mean, sure, we have to, all right, we got to raise some taxes on some of the people. They're progressives. There's a reason they call themselves progressives, because they're long, distant communist marchers. You're seeing the army of communism head towards us. And they're waving a white flag and a rainbow flag. We're just here to help. We're just here to help. All right, guys, do you have the Mazatov or whatever they call it, cocktails? Why don't we make a few of those up real quick before we get there? This is where we're at. Oh, last thing. Thank you, chat, for not holding me to my time limit unless it hasn't been. I don't care. Okay, another change in Medicare up in New York. Medicaid up in New York now covers sex changes. Thank fucking God. Finally, though they can now have, and listen to the name, guys, gender affirming surgery. I'm pretty sure your gender was affirmed when you came out. The doctor affirmated it. It's a boy. There's something not there. It's a girl. He affirmed it. But now, if your doctor was wrong, when he looked down there and he thought he saw a penis, he was mistaken. So we're going to allow you to now get another affirmation. But we're going to have to put that affirmation on you. Right? We're going to tell you you're a boy. Then we're going to do some shit that makes you look like a boy. Your DNA is not going to change. Sorry, we haven't figured out that technology yet, but we're on it. You still have an a Y or an X, whichever one you were born with, just because. I'm trying to remember what Rush Limbaugh used. He called it like something like chop a dick off the gee or something like that. So now, if you're on Medicaid, which mind you, 47% of everyone who lives in New York is on Medicaid. That statistic alone tells you your system is fucking broke. All right. If I was to tell you guys only 47% of what I eat is poison, I'm good. Don't worry. I still got 53% that's good. But 47%, I'm arsenic all day long. This is the world. This is the New York. Now, this ain't Florida. Now, mind you, Miami just elected a Democrat. And yes, I meant that, a Democrat. That's what I'm going to start labeling these people at. All right? And my theory is we have called ugly women pretty too long. Have you ever met somebody and it's like your girlfriend or your wife's friend and she's like all fucking dolled up, but lipstick on a pig type of thing? We have to we have to address these people and make them realize we can't walk around calling ugly women pretty anymore. All right. Well, actually, we didn't usually call them pretty. We just go, yeah, she's kind of cute from the back. We have to start labeling these people for what they are. The average Democrat is just dumb. The leaders of the fucking Democrat Party, they're evil. They're socialists. They're communists. They're progressives. So they're not dumb. They just know they lead a bunch of dumb people. See, the average liberal, the average Democrat is the equivalent of a cat. They think their shit don't stink. They don't listen. They'll eat the food you buy them. But as soon as you call them over, they give you that fuck you look. Yeah. In fact, let's actually call them Democats. Perfect name. They don't listen. They're not smart. All they do is kind of hang out at the house and kind of look at everyone else like they're doing something fucking wrong. And what are the leaders of the Democrat cats? They're the people with the laser pointer fucking with the cats. Look over here. Look over here. Look over here. Look at here. Oh, look, gay rights. Transgendered. 911 operator running the fire department. They're using the laser pointers on the Democrats. That's what we're dealing with now, people. And what amazes me, a lot of them advertise. Remember the I voted for or I'm with her fucking bumper stickers? They advertise. They're dumb. Well, usually you can look at their car, and if they're driving a smart car, that's just the equivalent of a little bus. That's what that is. They're riding in the little bus, except it's their smart car. We have to reach a point where we ignore stupidity. And when someone says something stupid, make sure you clarify, wow, that was really fucking stupid. We have to call us a communist. The mayor of New York is a communist. And not just a communist. He is a communist progressive revolutionary. He's revolutionizing New York. He's basically implementing the progressive Cloward Piven program. And if you don't know what Cloward and Piven is, Google it. Cloward and Piven. And Miami just elected another fucking Democrat. Why? Do you think all of the business owners, all of the wealthy people, all of the people that moved here from New York and California are like, oh, thank God we got another Democrat? No. It was the retards that were following the laser pointer. Remember, guys, you can't fix stupid. You can just lock it in a closet. That's what we got to do. We have to lock them in a hypothetical closet and just ignore what they say now. And just fucking keep on doing what we're doing. I mean, look at California. And I'm sorry, guys, I know I'm going. I just have a lot to say today. Look at California. They're implementing a 5% wealth tax. Boy, what could we do to actually piss off so many wealthy people to have them leave California? How about we implement a 5% unrealized wealth tax? That's the equivalent of going into their savings account and their brokerage account and going, all right, looks like you're worth about $10 billion. Yeah, we gonna need about 500 million of that. Huh? Yeah, we're gonna need about 500 million of that. Wait, I don't have $500 million in cash. Well, you're gonna have to sell some shit. Guys, how do you crash the markets? You force the people who own shares to sell in a certain quarter. Okay. And remember, they can't write those off as a loss on their California taxes. They're fucked. I have friends out in California. They know. They all know. And most of them are moving. I have friends up in New York. Let's just say I wouldn't be surprised if Gemini is going to be headquartered outside of Miami. They're not going to move to Miami. They're going to move outside Miami. There's nice areas outside of Miami, but they ain't going to move in Miami. All right, I'm going to let you guys go now. Everyone, have a great day. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Once again, if you want non-KYC Bitcoin, give us a call or send us a text. And just ask us, how can you get me some Bitcoin? We can do home equity loans. We can actually get you a personal loan to buy Bitcoin. Easy peasy. Non-KYC. Everyone, give us a call or send us a text, 941-413-8080. Everyone, have a great day. I love you guys, and please take a second and hit like and subscribe, whatever platform you're watching. Love you guys. Hope. Oh, and tomorrow it's going to be me and Patrick. Can't wait to hear what he has to say about New York. I'm sure he's going to totally agree with Mom Donnie. No. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine, Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.